really this month, we're going to focus in on leadership. And without, understanding that without that, nothing else that we do in our business matters. So I really want to break it apart over the course of this month as we talk about, leading ourselves, because it's right things, right order, right? Lead ourselves, lead others, and then lead others to lead others as we get into certain aspects of the business. And, playing the solopreneur game, T's on here, T's witnessed this, right? The solopreneur game of really, you can get away with playing, it's like playing checkers, and, the flip of the game. And Marcus Lemonis talks about this too, is that when you get more than about 5 or 6 people kind of in your organization, that game changes. It changes from checkers to chess. And the cool thing about understanding those games, is that the board's the same. It's just the pieces change and they become more specialized instead of, all the same pieces. The pieces are the pieces when you play checkers, but you become a little bit more specialized as we continue to leverage and continue to grow. So right things, right order. And that's really what I want to dive into with everybody this month. And, understanding that this program has a lot of dynamic to it. It's going to continue to evolve, continue to grow. And just want to make sure that everybody's really taking advantage of everything. The Facebook Coach Code Facebook group, the members area to where all the trainings and all the recordings and everything's at. If you guys don't have access to the NAEA, CHSA, CHBA training, it's there. It's in one access, where you can go to pull these recordings. The NAEA stuff's right there as well. So being able to, take full advantage of everything that you guys have. Also really want to push our Thursday Q&A, AMA calls. That's the perfect spot to be a little selfish and go in and get questions specifically where you're stuck at in your business. These Monday growth calls are a little more topic specific. And so I know everybody's got kind of challenges, things they're wrestling with, either in growing their organization or growing their business. Hey, what's working, what's not working? That Thursday call is the perfect time for that. And so if you guys aren't jumping on Thursday evenings with us, make sure you get it in the calendar. Those are at 6 Central on Thursdays. So get that added in. And then of course, our monthly mastermind, we had the mastermind call on Friday. And I appreciate you guys bearing with me. I was on the struggle bus, but I felt it was a really a great call, packed full of value. I was actually sitting in a hotel's conference room, the private conference room of the GM, and it's conference room. They have a kitchen on one side. They've got a couple private offices. And when I was on that call with you guys, the GM got my attention and said, "Hey, can I have a conversation with you when you get done?" And just some of the topics that we were talking about in that call was resonating with him at a high level, because we were talking about the overall experience and the things that we were having. So, those calls are gold. And this gentleman, he's 30 plus years in the hospitality business, and the things that we were talking about on that call resonated with him at his core. And he's hiring a front of the house manager. And he said, "I would love to have a conversation with you when we get her on board." So T, you can tell Bo, Coach Code was spreading just through just him listening into the call. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And then of course, these Monday calls are growth calls. So I want to jump in. I want to kind of unpack a couple things that really resonated with me in the conversation that I had with my coach, Dr. Matt Townsend, on the podcast. And I know I've pushed that call, talked about it a lot. Hopefully you've been able to listen to it. If not, Z, can you throw in the chat what episode that is on the podcast, Spotify, episode 106 or something like that with Matt. And Matt, we talked a lot about communication and, a lot of the concepts that we've embraced through coaching and through leadership. And we'll probably talk about them in depth a little bit more this month. Always layers deeper. Don't get caught up in the smoke, get to the fire, get real, find out where the relationship is starved, and then move to be able to elevate that. And, there's just so many little nuggets in there. And my question to Matt that he, really shared with us, and I was like, well, what do we as leaders need to be focused on moving forward? And he said, I really believe the two most important things that we have to really go deep on is one is mindfulness, and two is emotional intelligence. And so when you look at from a mindfulness perspective, what does that mean? And, Hal talks about it in the Miracle Morning, right? It's part of his savers. It's the very first thing. It's the S. It's for silence. And when we understand the four buckets, and this is a lot of what Coach talks about, igniting the prey drive every day, and it falls into, body, heart, mind, spirit. But it also comes from the book of Power of Full Engagement, and where they did the study on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, and understanding how important all four of those are in our lives, and how we have to be maxing out in all four for us to be at our best. And we know there's a renewal to every one of those things. The physical is making sure that we've got a consistent, workout regimen, workout routine, and, doing the things to keep our body strong. Understanding as we age, there's certain things that can really, hinder us. And I've talked about this with my dad, and I know, Michael, you were asking about him, and my sister's, he's in Tulsa, so he's there, and my sister's there, and they're putting him through the ringer rehab this week. And he's crushing it. She sent me a bunch of videos just a little while ago. So being able to see him, he's working his butt off. And, goes back to the things that we know we need to commit to get stronger. And the two things as we get older that we really have to make sure that we're building strength around is we're having our ability to step down, and then our ability, our grip strength. And so just make sure whatever you're doing, you're just making your body stronger. And then also the nutrition, and then also the sleep. Those are the critical things to the physical bucket. Then you got the emotional bucket, and that's the renewal and the recharge for our emotions is cardio. So making sure we've got some type of consistent cardio regimen. It's as simple, did you break a sweat today? And just doing something to elevate that heart rate for, an extended period of time, making sure that that's incorporated into kind of that daily regimen. The mental recharge is where this mindfulness, meditation, silence, prayer, whatever that is for you. And you guys have heard me share, my discipline around the mindfulness has been the Headspace app, and approaching 30,000 minutes on the Headspace app with an average duration of about 11 minutes, 10 minutes. So you can do the math, how long I've been on the Headspace app. And it is I will say it's one of the many things, one of the handful of things, not many things, one of the handful of things that has helped me tremendously over the years. And it's really calmed me. I was, a little too serious guy there for a period of my life. And it's just really just being able to just breathe and chill. And there's just so much power in that mindfulness practice. And however it works for you, I don't sit full meditation. It's more of the guided, meditation, more mindfulness. I usually do it in combination, typically with walking or running or getting on the bike. And that usually is how I always like to start my morning, start my day. I know Kara is on here, and she shared, she had a unplug last week, and found a lot of that silence and prayer for her. So you got to find what works for you, but that's the mental recharge. It's one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is one, making sure we're putting the right things into our minds, but also have some type of practice to really help us, focus on our breathing, breathing techniques, but also, just things to get our mind working through certain exercises. I mean, there's mindfulness practices in here that I use even on endurance events that helps me get through, when you don't want to get through, it's really good to have those tools to be able to help you mentally work through anything challenging that we're going through.